Zaid Jilani of The Intercept wrote a fantastic article about money in politics and corruption, and he discussed some incredible facts that I honestly was clueless on. There are some historical facts in here which explain why the system is the way it is in terms of giving former presidents, a hefty pension. So first, he brings up Hillary Clinton's claim about her time leaving office, or I should say right when her and Bill left office, and they said that they're, quote, dead broke. Isn't that incredible? You have a president and the first lady, when they're leaving office, they're like, oh yeah, we were in the poorhouse, bro. You were just president and first lady. That's a weird thing to say. So he says this is obviously absurd because, quote, running the country has great retirement benefits. Ex-presidents are given pensions of nearly $200,000 annually, as well as funding for office space and custodial staff. But the new normal is that our ex-presidents rely on huge paydays from private interest groups to fund their lifestyles. This flies in the face of the original intent of the presidential pension, which was to preserve the dignity of former presidents and prevent corruption. So, what are the origins of this? Well, he goes on to explain, quote, when Harry Truman was getting ready to leave the White House in 1953, he was approached by numerous employers. One of those job offers was from a Florida real estate developer asking him to become a chairman, officer, or stockholder at a figure of not less than $100,000, the sort of position that is commonplace today for ex-politicians. Quote, I could never lend myself to any transaction, however respectable, that would commercialize on the prestige and dignity of the office of the presidency. Truman would later write of his refusal to influence peddle to get by. Isn't that fucking fascinating? He's saying, okay, I was president of the United States. When I leave office here, if I go and work with Corporation X or Y, well, that's influence peddling. I mean, obviously, people are going to say this besmirches the dignity of the great office of of being president of the United States of America. Because what's going to happen? I mean, you're setting up a system where presidents will do favors for corporations and rich people, and then when they get out, oh, now I'll pay you back. Now you have this position where you make $200,000 a year, $1 million a year, in today's money, whatever it happens to be, and you don't have to do anything. You'll be an advisor where I leave you the fuck alone and just give you money because you helped me out by giving me that tax break or whatever when you were in office. And understand that this is how it works in the Senate, too. This is how it works in the House of Representatives. Why do you think it is that, soon after leaving office, all these guys end up on Wall Street or end up being a consultant with a different big corporation that just pays them to do dick? Because they did their bidding when they were in office. This is the way that it works. They continue and say, although he had access to a small pension from his military service, Truman had little financial support after leaving office. He moved back into his family home in Independence, Missouri. Isn't that amazing? He eventually agreed to write a memoir for Life magazine, but it was a lengthy project that provided far from luxurious stipends. In 1958, Dwight Eisenhower and Congress finally acted, partly in response to Truman's plight, establishing the pension system for ex-presidents we have today. Okay, so fast forward to today, and the whole idea was to give these guys a comfortable living so that they don't sell out and besmirch the dignity of the office. Well, starting with Gerald Ford and moving on until today, all the former presidents, except Jimmy Carter, all the credit in the world to him, started selling out. Ford joined the boards of corporations such as 20th Century Fox and hit the paid speech circuit and was made an honorary director by Citigroup. Reagan joined the speaker circuit as well, doing 2 or 3 speeches a month before Fortune 500 companies. It was estimated that Reagan earned $50,000 a speech, which, again, for the record, at the time, that's worth a lot more money. Japan gave him $2 million for a pair of 20-minute speeches, and an additional $5 million was arranged for expenses related to his visit. This is also one of the big reasons why we've had long-term relationship with Japan. It was a strategic move on their part to do this. And then his son, George H.W.'s son, W. Bush, made at least $15 million from over 100 paid speeches just between 2011 and 2015. And Bill and Hillary, hitting the speech circuit here, made over $125 million. Hillary, when she left Secretary of State, ooh, cha-ching, she cashed in. She went everywhere. And remember, there was chatter about, her running for president. Now she says, hey, I didn't know if I was going to run. But she most likely knew and went around raising money from the health industry, went around raising money from Wall Street in order to influence peddle. Hey, if I get in office, I'm going to look out for you. If you look out for me, you got some speech money for me? Remember, $675,000 for a few speeches at Goldman Sachs alone. She made about $2.9 million from speeches to the health industry, various corporations, and about $2.9 million in speeches to Wall Street from various firms there from just 2013 to 2015. And again, that doesn't even include the amount of money she raised for the Clinton Foundation, where, hey, look at that. When she was Secretary of State, she did favors for the people who donated to the Clinton Foundation. And that doesn't include money that's raised for her campaign when she's running or her super PAC when she's running. For the various times she ran, whether it's for senator or whether it's when Bill Clinton was running to be president. So these guys are just bathing in corruption and legalized bribery. And it's really interesting to look back and see exactly what happened along the way here. We went from Truman saying, look, I'd rather be poor than influence peddle and, make it so that I'm besmirching the dignity of the office. We went from that to, what was it again that Hillary said during one of the last debates or one of the last town halls? Said, why? Anderson Cooper, I think, said, why did you take the $675,000 from them? Why would you do that? She said, that's what they offered. We went from what Truman said, I wouldn't want to, put the dignity of the office into question. We went from that to, that's what they offered. We've slid a long way down, man.